My name is Todd Brooks. I'm with Ford Land, and we're going to talk about site selection today. Now, first of all of our recommendations are exactly that, they're recommendations. Some of these are along the guidance of the ISO procedure 13154, which is for thermographic screening used in this manner. The environment should ideally would be between 20 and 24C, which is approximately the equivalent of 68 to 75 degrees. Relative humidity, recommended range of 10 to 50%. Understand that that varies from site to site, but that is the recommended target. One thing that's very important, because this is a thermal imaging camera, so keep in mind the camera does not shoot any beams out. It is actually looking at the heat energy that comes off of your body. So the IR radiation that actually we emit every day. So the camera is able to see that. It does not shoot out anything. There's no lasers or anything like that. It's purely looking at the heat signature. And because of that, you have to make sure that there is an environment where it's non-reflective for that IR energy. And that means not having any windows, any glass, any surfaces that are like shiny metal. So I know in some of the plants there might be stainless steel alongside the walls. You need to make sure that none of that exists, that you have basically a flat wall, can be material, you can have a drywall. Paint surface colors can be anything, medium gray to white is perfectly fine. We don't necessarily recommend black for a screening. It makes it a little bit difficult for the video camera to actually have enough contrast to see the individuals when they come into the screening view. So any type of backdrop that gives you medium contrast to good contrast would be perfectly acceptable. The other recommendations that we have, power. Power is going to be very important. The camera, the laptop, everything requires 120 volt AC, so you're going to need to make sure you have good uninterrupted power. If you experience issues where you have power interruptions, might be a really good idea to have a small UPS that you can get from a local computer store or anything that you might have in your IT closets or any place that you might get. So you're going to need basically 3 plugins. Your power supply adapter for the laptop, the power supply, there's a small DC included power supply for the camera itself, and then we have the black body device that does not draw that much juice. It's only heated to 37 degrees C, very low temperature, so it's basically 98.6 degrees, and it can plug into a wall, but it's going to need to be separated, and we're going to talk about that. Other considerations, people flow. So when you set up your screening area, you're going to want to make sure that you can get people to come in. You can see this little corner of the office space that we've kind of done our ad hoc setup. But what we've been able to do is have people, ideally you would come in, keep them clear of the black body. This device could be set up on a shelf somewhere out of view if the tripod does not work out or you have the ability to mount that higher. We'll go through the actual setup of that and what is critical, but you want to make sure that people do not hit the tripod. The alignment between this black body and the IR camera is absolutely critical to staying in perfect alignment all the time. We will review that more in greater detail. But having your people to where the people flow comes in, they just need to stand in front of the camera for approximately 2 seconds to get a good face-on read, no hat, no glasses, and then people can move on and make sure they don't hit the IR camera. It's really good to have a desk or some sort of a setup where you can have the laptop right next to the camera. There is a cord that's probably about 6 to 8 feet long. We are providing a network extension cable in case you need to get further away, but this works out really well. It's up to the local IT. If you want to have, we've set up a video monitor here that faces us for our troubleshooting and just, general setup while we've worked through this kind of ad hoc setup. Some areas do have an extra monitor where the folks that when they walk up, they can actually see what's going on, so it kind of alleviates some of the stress of what's happening. The laptop will beep and provide the operator a red light whenever there's a high temperature situation set off. But it's also important to note that even though we've set this for basically 97.7 degrees of a surface temperature, it's not absolutely a determination that they have COVID. It's just that they do have an elevated temperature, so that individual could be having an infection, low-grade fever from some other illness over and above COVID-19. But it is indicative of an issue that the individual should be escorted and not with general population.